Hey guys, it's Joy. I wanted to take you on a little walkthrough of our day, how I've planned it, and obviously we'll tweak it as we go. I have a new kindergartner starting this year, so I will have a third grader, a kindergartner, and a preschooler. So as I see how much independent work my third grader can do, how much help my kindergartner is going to do, are going to need, because every kid is different. So already I've kind of noticed he will take the reins on some stuff, as opposed to my older one who I've probably helped way too much. So anyways, yeah, and my preschooler, I'm just going to do the letter of the week curriculum from Confessions of a Homeschooler, which I've done with my older two. So I kind of already know how that works, and that's pretty independent, but you definitely do have to show them how to do some things until they're used to the curriculum. So anyways, I just thought I'd show you kind of a walkthrough of our day. Okay, so we're going to start our school day at the breakfast table, and over here I have an armoire, and in it are just a bunch of games and craft stuff and all that good stuff. But I bought this at Target, I believe. I've never heard of this brand, but anyways, I just bought a whole bunch of colored pencils to go along with our grapevine curriculum, and this has been such... I also have his math book up here right now, but this has been a great curriculum so far. We've done about a week's worth, and which do I want to show you? Okay, sure. This is my daughter's, and basically, let me see here. It comes with a teacher guide, so it tells you everything you need to say, everything you need to read from the Bible, and which I also like. I like that they just have the scripture reference, so your kids actually see you pull out a Bible and read it. And then I think my son's is downstairs. Anyways, so I have one for each child, and the other one for my older two boys are just blank, and so they have to draw in the pictures. But for my daughter, as you can see, they have some that are they're called traceable. So that's been working out really, really well, and we've just done that right after breakfast. I have them bring their dishes over to the sink, and then we go ahead and we start with our grapevine study. After the grapevine study, my kids are going to do their chores and get dressed and brush their teeth. Getting dressed and brushing their teeth, they're not a part of their chore chart. Those are just things they need to do. I do have brush hair as a part of my daughter's, but you can tweak these to use them however you want. I made a whole video on my chore charts, and we still use them, still love them, and they're still effective for our family. So let's see, like cleaning sink. This just means grabbing a rag and wiping it down after they brush their teeth, just to get all the spatters and water off of the counter. And then watering plants, that sometimes means indoor plants, that sometimes means outdoor plants. Vacuuming is we just have a little handheld vacuum that they vacuum under the table, or they'll vacuum a bathroom, whatever needs to be done, and I tell them that. And then laundry is usually either, it depends on where the laundry is. If it's towels, they can fold those. If it's their own clothes, they can help sort them, and then I usually fold most of them. My older one can help, and then they put them away. So that's kind of our morning routine. Okay, then we come down to the schoolroom and we do group time together. This is from last year, so I'm probably going to reprint this and change a few things. But this is kind of how we start our day. We always start it with prayer, and then I've just taken the opportunity, we do a 4-day school week, obviously. I've taken the opportunity to add things in, like read a poem, write full names, write their address and phone number, just things that are very important, things that they need to know, things that we should be reviewing on a regular basis, that kind of thing. So that is how we start the school day. This year we're going to use the daily learning notebook from Confessions of a Homeschooler. She has one for kindergarten, a cursive one, a pre-K one, I think that might be it. Maybe she has one that's not cursive for older kids, but they're free downloads on her site, and they are awesome. And so they kind of incorporate some of the things that I do in our group time. So depending on how often we use these, I'm hoping to incorporate them every day. So I'll show you kind of what's inside my kindergartners. They just trace the day, they color in the number, whatever, if it's Monday, you know, August, whatever, 10th, then they'd color that in. And then what's today's number, they write 10, the number before 9, the number after 11, and then they write today's number word. She's also included something else back here, the number words that they can trace. So I might just have him do that and then come back and write this. I'm not sure because we haven't started using this yet. And you do that for each day of the week, and then you write down what time it is. So I do have reading the clock on our group time, but we can also use that in here. And then you fill in your thermometer and what type of clothes you're going to wear today. That's just kind of something fun that they can do. I'm going to have to put a thermometer up outside of our schoolroom. We have a window here, so I'm going to do that. And then this is the number. You find today's, you know, number date or whatever. Say if it's 10, then you copy that. So I don't know exactly how that's all going to work each and every day. And then you can count off 100 days of school, which we've done, I think, once in the past, and that was fun. So we might try and do that again and decide what we're going to do on the 100th day of school, maybe get donuts or something. And then this is, they write their name every month. And so I do have them pull out their whiteboard and write their name once, you know, their full name once a week. And then that's kind of fun. Then you can see how they progress. And then here is the calendar, their calendar. They can trace that, and then they can fill in the numbers as you go. You fill in, you know, how many days are sunny, and then at the end of the month you find the most common weather, and then you circle it. So that's kind of a fun thing, and then it just goes through all of those. So that's my kindergartners. And then for the cursive, for my 3rd grader, I started out, I made a schedule for him. He really likes to know what's coming next. So, and I want him to become more independent. So this is his day so far, or what I have so far. I'm sure I'll need to tweak it as we get started. But this is kind of how we're starting and what we're going to do. And then he kind of has the same thing, except he has how much money, so make the date in coins. And then he has the same thing, except just, you know, he has to write it and in cursive. And then, oh yes, they just have a little different. And then he gets to put tally marks for how many days of school we do that month, which will be nice for me. And then he actually gets to write his name in cursive each month, which will be great because he started cursive last year, but he's still just kind of beginning. And then 100 days of school and the calendars as well. And I believe that's it. Oh yes, and we're reusing all of our notebooks, so they have lots of writing on them. Okay, I'm going to use the Ultimate Homeschool Planner again by Deborah Bell. I love this. I have a video on it. And this is how I set it up. I have my son's name, or my children's name, over at the side, and then I put the day of the week up here. So, sorry about the sun there. So this is for Monday for my oldest son, Monday for my middle son, Monday for my daughter. So I just put letter of the week curriculum for my preschooler, and I just put the letter we're working on. So this is Letter of the Week by Confessions of a Homeschooler. And then there's a separate printable that you can see what to do for each day, so I don't bother writing that. I just write Letter of the Week. And then for classical conversations, each of my children, this is her first year in it, each of them are going to do a presentation each Friday. So we are doing presentation prep on Mondays, and I guess I just put prep on all of them, but basically the prep will, excuse me, my voice is not cooperating this morning. Presentation prep on Monday, and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we practice it, and then Friday, they give the presentation. Sorry about that.
So for my oldest son, I wrote the Grapevine Study and the memory verse that we do up at the breakfast table. And then this is just for me. And then our group time together. Then we're going to do math, copy work. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do for copy work yet. Usually we tie in our classical conversations memory work somehow with that. And then we're going to all review our classical conversations memory work just for that 1 week that we are on, and then find the geography on the map. And then we are going to do memory work. This won't happen the first few weeks, but we're going to go back and I let my older son choose which 2 subjects he wants to review. So this is, say, he chooses history and science. So then we go back to week 1 and we review from week 1 to wherever we are. So obviously the first, few weeks we're not going to have too much of that. It's not going to take too much time. But getting towards the end of the year, there are 24 weeks. And so when you get to the end, the memory work review takes a little bit longer. And then we're going to do Shirley English, all about spelling, writing with ease. And then I have lunch and Spanish, and I should put /Latin. So my older son takes a Spanish class, and so we're just going to try and speak Spanish as much as we can over lunch, and that's going to be the focus. That's what we did last year a little bit, and that seemed to work. I also purchased the Homeschool Latin. They learn Latin in classical conversations. They learn different parts, and so I thought I bought the DVD set. I also have the book, but I bought the DVD set just because I think that will be something I could pop in. It's 15 minutes, so I can pop that in as I'm making lunch, and they can watch that. So that kind of gets our foreign language in over lunch, and then we're going to do some presentation prep just upstairs at the table after lunch. And then we're going to group read, and we actually started, sorry, my children are screaming if you can hear them. We actually started, I bought a few read aloud books, and they were kind of recommended through our classical conversations program. And this is the one we've started. It's kept my older son's attention. He really likes it. If you don't like the word dumb or dumbbell, I would suggest not reading this book right now, depending on your child's age, because it does use it a lot. And my kids haven't started calling each other that yet, but it does use that frequently. So, but it's a great book about the time period of Rome and that kind of thing. So it tells about the lives of kids in Rome. And then so that's our group read time, and I don't know how long that's going to be, just, however many chapters we can get through, 1 or 2 or more. And then my older son is going to read for 30 minutes by himself, probably in his room, and then he's going to do some, we're pretending as we start the year that we're going to try for Memory Master, so I just put Memory Master Review. I think I'm just going to get a little MP3 player and put the CD material on that for him to review. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do that. So anyways, that's just kind of the general layout, and this will be probably during their rest time, the 30 minutes of read and the Memory Master Review. I do still have my kids go to their room and take a little rest. So for my middle son, he's going to do math and handwriting and reading and also logic of English, probably not at the same time. We're finishing up 100 easy lessons. And then I'm going to start logic of English with him. And then he also does his presentation prep. And he also does some of this with us. Like he'll do the group time, the Grapevine, and the memory work review. So that's also included in my kindergartner stuff. And then for my preschooler, it's letter of the week and the presentation prep, and I'll just write that for her and she can practice it. And then I love Half a Hundred Acre Wood, if you guys have ever been on her website, if you do classical conversations. If not, it might not all make sense to you, but she has a reading and activity plan, and so I just actually printed them out and cut them out and pasted them into my planner because she has planners, but I just love this planner so much, so I'm incorporating it into mine. And this is just, in my mind, it's extra stuff. We're not going to get to this each and every day, but she has it in a 4-day layout, and we obviously don't use our mother tongue for English, so she does have that. But she has, blob mapping on day 1, which is a whole thing. You'll have to go to our website. And it's basically, for classical conversations, they learn how to draw the world eventually from memory. And so this blob mapping is really great for little kids because they learn where the, prime meridian, equator, all the Tropic of Capricorn, Tropic of Cancer, all those are, and then they kind of just draw a shape that's kind of in the shape of the continent. So it's called blob mapping because it's kind of a blob, and they learn just very basic stuff like that. And so she just has extra stuff. So SOTW is Story of the World, Volume 1, Introduction. So it's just extra reading. So if we don't, if I don't want to read this one day, we might read Story of the World or something like that. And then she actually has a read aloud, The Bronze Bow, and a friend of mine and I are sharing books, and she has that one. So we'll probably, switch off, and we just won't follow this exactly. And then she has the Song School Latin, which is this, and just things like that. So I just put it in there just for reference. We're not going to do that every day, but this is kind of our plan for how I'm laying out my day. So if you have any questions on that, be sure and let me know. There we go. So this, again, is my 3rd grader, kindergartner, and preschooler.
Okay, guys, I hope you found that helpful. It sounds rigid, but it's not. If you've homeschooled before, most of the time your kids have time to play, and between a lot of those things, they can go outside and run around. The bulk of our schooling happens when we come down to our schoolroom. So it's in the morning, it's usually a couple of very focused hours, and that's when we get the majority of our schoolwork done. So, before lunch, after lunch, in the afternoon, they go outside, they run around, they play, especially my kindergartner, my preschooler, they get done a lot quicker, so they go and play, and I'm trying to set up actually a room outside of our schoolroom, but still in the basement with toys and things like that they can play and still be close, because they love to be close, but sometimes they just need to get out and play. So that is kind of a disclaimer on my routine and my schedule. And then in the afternoon, we can do group reading outside. We can just really, it's very flexible. So I don't want you to think, oh gosh, that sounds so rigid. It's really not. In the morning it is, just because we have to get stuff done, but around that time we can be really flexible. And then I was going to mention too that kind of what I've showed you takes us up to, 3, 4 o'clock, something like that. So from 4 to 5, I allow screen time. They can play Minecraft, they can play phone games, whatever. I usually have them all in the living room so I can see what they're watching and doing. And then from 4 to 5, that's usually when I kind of do a few paperwork things, make some phone calls, and they're usually generally quiet while they're playing their video games, or quieter, at least entertained, and then I make supper, and so that has worked out really well. Now, that's not the only screen time they get during the day. My oldest son, I don't have it worked in quite yet when we're going to do this, but he does a typing program that's online, of course, and then my younger son and daughter, they like to do Starfall's website. My son likes to do Teach Your Monster How to Read's website. There's just different websites, and I plug in headphones to our computer because we have a computer right here in the schoolroom. It's actually right there. And so just not to distract everyone else, I plug in headphones and they can do their website. So I generally limit it to about 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes maybe. And then they can take turns doing that. And then, that brings us up to supper time, and then Daddy's home, and then our evening just goes. So my plan is as well this year for group reading time. If we don't get to it in the afternoon, if I'm just too tired or whatever, my husband has agreed to read to them at night before bed. So that kind of takes something off of my plate if we don't get to it or whatever. And that's the nice thing sometimes about thinking about how you can include your husband in your school day. Because sometimes they come home and you tell them a quick rundown and that's about all they get, or they can ask the kids or whatever. But usually our evenings just go by so quickly that I just don't even know. I don't tell him anything until like later, and he'll ask the kids, but they're, oh, it was great, boys, whatever. My daughter will tell him all sorts of things. And then, so I thought that would be kind of nice to incorporate some group reading at bedtime and have Daddy do it. And he's willing to do that. And then also my oldest son, on Sunday nights or whatever night it so happens, our math is where you have you explain it to them, and you can watch the DVD. We use Matthew C. But my husband has agreed to explain that to him on a Sunday night, and then we can go work through all our worksheets for that week. And if we don't get all our worksheets done that week, and I don't feel like he really truly has the concept, excuse me, my voice is just horrible today. It's horrible. So it would be pushed back to, say, Monday night, and my husband would go through that with him, and then we'd start the new lesson on Tuesday and work through it and whatnot. You get the idea. So anyways, my husband has agreed to explain it to him, and that's very helpful to me because I don't feel very confident in explaining the math. And he was just watching the DVDs, and that was great, but I felt like he needed more, and I just wanted to make sure he got it. So anyways, that's just a tip too. Again, how to incorporate your husband if he's good at math or whatever, and just something that takes 20 minutes maybe. And we usually do it after the younger two. I take the younger two and put them to bed, and then my older son has that time with his daddy, and he thinks it's super special, and he's getting math in at the same time. So bonus. So anyways, that is kind of how our day is run. I hope you got some ideas and tips from that, and I hope you have a great day.